What's up, guys? Subs Eric here, back for another VOD review. And look, something so crazy is going on right now that I feel like I have to VOD review it. It is day 2 of that Tactician's Trials, and Phoenixaa, or Phoenix, I guess is his real name. I don't know what the Ahs are. Is 1-1-1 on the day, and you could say, okay, there's all these other people who are also 1-1-1 on the day, but also check out his day 1 final standings. He went 9th overall. Like, this guy is just absolutely smurfing on the day, so I wanted to on today and on yesterday, he might, you know, if he continues doing as well as he has been doing, will have the best score, you know, after 2 days out of anyone. So one to VOD review Phoenix, and then also I took a peek at his VODs, and he's actually playing a comp a lot that I think is a little bit under the radar. It's a variant of a comp that I think a lot of people aren't playing towards, and I think this game was a perfect example of a just fast 8 game where he got to play that comp, and yeah, I really want to talk about it. So yeah, I talked about it yesterday. I played in the cup yesterday. I got 26 points when 27 probably would have made me get to day 2, which is like heartbreaking. I just needed to salvage 1 placement across the rest of the tourney, which is so sad. But I was playing after coming back from vacation, so that's my John. That's my excuse. I'll just say, okay, well, you know, probably if I had played more than 1 game on the patch, I would have done better. I was learning in tournament, as I said a lot. Ooh, interesting start already from Phoenix, actually. He opts to go for the pre-level here. He goes for the pre-level here because he has Lilia 2 and the start. He's digging for something better to play here, a Bastion or Warrior. But his idea is potentially that he can play for Windstreak with this board. It's kind of surprising to me because I don't see what the item slam is from this spot that makes you want to pre-level. But, you know, that's his idea, is that he's already hit 1 upgrade, so he can just pre-level here, play for XP. This is interesting, though. I don't see many people pre-leveling these days. I feel like this is kind of a lost art, but yeah, the pre-level here. First augment, so we have 2 really crazy options from the start. We have Dragon Spirit, Fortune, or Dragon Spirit. I mean, that exists, but I don't care about that. We have Fortune and Raining Gold. Fortune, obviously an insane augment. If you can get to a big Fortune cash out, you can win games for free. And then Raining Gold is just like a solid gold augment. We did already pre-level, which makes Fortune a little bit worse because, you know, like, you don't really want to be leveled up for that. But yeah, Phoenix is still just going to go for the Fortune favors the bold here. He's looking at Winter is coming here, but I can't imagine this is the take, even though this augment I think is still pretty solid. We have no Frost. So a smart scout from Phoenix here, just to make sure that no one else is Fortune, no one else is double down. He just wants to make sure that he is not getting griefed by somebody else. And so, yeah, we're going to full open here and make 10 gold. So the early game, I don't think there's probably not going to be that much to talk about in this game from Phoenix. But the mid to late game is what I really want to talk about. In the early game, well, not even really mid game, because there's going to be no mid game either. It's just going to be late game. But, you know, when you're playing early game, when you take Fortune, the biggest thing that you want to make sure of is that if no one else is opening, that you can kill some units. Now, you should not try to kill units if there's a chance that it can make you win. This is something that, you know, I've talked to Demacian Raptor, rank 1 EU West, or he's been rank 1. I don't know if he's rank 1 right now. He's usually right around there. And he's like, every time I see you play this augment, you just cash out. They're also talking in chat. Solus says, congrats on getting Fortune. And he said, thank you, bro. I pre-leveled. It's not even good. But, you know, this augment obviously very good if you can get to that big cash out. But yeah, I like this from Phoenix, actually, just full opening the entire time. Item-wise here, so if we want to play towards something AD, you could take like Winsu's Rage Blade, and then you have a pretty solid like AED setup. These items want you to play more towards AD. Honestly, you have bow, you have glove, you have cloak. You know, there's like a Last Whisper that exists there, or like a Renans, depending on what you want to play for, or just like none of that. We'll see what Phoenix wants to end up making this game. He's probably not going to slam for a long time. Maybe not actually build an item, like definitely not build an item until like 3-1. We do have Carousel here. There's an option to pick up, say, like a red buff here with that Gwynsu. It's a little bit high attack speed to go red buff in the Gwynsu. So that's the only thing. I think the idea here would be towards to play towards Callista this game with red buff Gwynsu. But, you know, we'll see what Phoenix wants to go for here. Does have the Dehance as a possibility. Now you can see he's holding onto a unit here. He's thinking about maybe fielding a couple of units here, but he wants to make sure, because somebody could full open versus him. I have to expect that he's going to sell these units. units. Okay, no, he's not going to sell them just yet because he does want to win versus Krugs. That's the only thing. If you do completely full open and you get like a bad Krugs shop, there is a chance that you actually end up losing to Krugs. So he wants to hold on to these units, maybe play a portal setup. He's also looking at all these other players. It looks like no one else is full open except for Mappa, maybe, or is for loss. Though at 78 HP, I feel like it's kind of unlikely that person is for loss. So yeah, you just have to make sure that you are not getting inted here, because if you get inted, it's really, really bad. And, you know, someone like this, this last place guy, Mappa, you know, they have the possibility of inting you. That person probably not, actually, because they have learning to spell, which means, you know, like if they're selling their units, they're selling their units that have already gotten some stacks, which, yeah, seems quite bad. But yeah, we are going to complete the 5 loss, which is good. Ooh, I wanted, if he team planner, okay, I wanted to see him team planner a board. We now have to just put together a board that can beat Krugs here. We do get 2 Bastion in, which is kind of nice with this board. But yeah, you could potentially see him slam some items here just to make sure. He's level 5 though. He trusts in the ability of, we have a lot of single target from this Zoe, so that's pretty good. Gold Orb, not bad actually, to accelerate our econ even further. Another cloak here. Could be a Declaw. I think, you know, with the nerf to Declaw, people tend to lean a little bit away from Declaw these days. But, you know, you could still go for a Declaw slam if you want to. Because, yeah, he kind of has to start figuring out what items he wants to build. You can greed them for a long time if you want. This is, you know, this is Fortune, so like we really don't want to be winning any fights, but hopefully the ideal is that we kill a unit. Yeah, Gwynsu red buff I think are very good slams, because not only are, you know, obviously we've made the Gwynsu already and the red buff pairs like okay with it, but the other nice thing is that it allows you to flex a lot of different lines. Callista is like kind of default here. Maybe like, you know, there's even like Karma possibilities. Ryze is another unit that can, you know, use a bunch of attack speed. Augment here, interesting. Ugh, I don't really love any of these. Spellblades has been nerfed enough that this augment statistically is not that great. There's a crowd, you have to play very specifically to it, and like I would never want either of these. Then we get combat bandages, which I think is pretty solid here, or even, wow, support golem as well. Yeah, has to be the pickup now. So great, we get a support golem with a virtue of the martyr, not bad at all. And yeah, we just have to make sure this person, this Mappa person, looks like they're still losing, which is quite scary. The nice thing is in tournament, a lot of people, yeah, I mean, I still don't think that they can sell their units though, because there are that learning to spell. And yeah, I think Phoenix realizes this, is that even versus this board, you know, like they are not going to be you know, inting us, because then they're going to lose all that learning to spell value. I imagine, I don't know, actually, it, like I thought they were going to try to play for Ziggs reroll, but they might actually not be playing for Ziggs reroll, because they only had 3 Ziggs, 3 Blitzes. Seems very, very difficult. They do also win this fight, which is very good, because now their incentive to int is much, much lower. So yeah, Gwynsu red buff here. It's kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, it's really not the most straightforward angle to play here. Because like I feel like you would play it towards Callista. He's holding on to some of these other fairy type units who you could maybe, you know, that would be the ideas. You could play around Callista with those. He opts to actually not send the Fairy Queen's charm or crown here, because he's afraid that, you know, he'll be able to burst through this Poppy. Yeah, it seemed unlikely, but I mean, it's a pretty decent loss. 4 unit loss here. 41 HP at this stage is not bad at all. There's the Arcana if he really wants to play towards 4 fairy or towards 5 fairy. He could guarantee it. He's gonna pick up Tier here, which I think is quite interesting, right? He takes Tier here, and I think this is the start of an idea of playing towards something more AP based. We're doing a lot of scouting. We see that person's probably Karma. There's a decent number of people who could potentially angle Karma with these blue buffs, some Shojins. But the blue or the Tier really makes you think, okay, maybe this could actually be an AP game. I see we're still holding on to this Hecarim. We're also, of course, holding onto this Fiora, who could be really, really nice if we end up in a Karma setup. This is actually kind of a scary level here, because this board that we're fighting doesn't look that strong, but the upside is they have a Zoe with 3 items, so we shouldn't be able to beat this. But yeah, this is kind of a scary fight. Oof. But we do end up losing it here. 3 unit loss is fantastic for Phoenix here. Going to be guaranteed that he can get to that 10 loss. And yeah, look at this. He's putting it into planner here. This is the idea that he wants to play for. This is a different variation of Ryze than a lot of people are used to. I think, you know, previous patch, more people were talking about like kind of like Arcana version of Ryze, where you're playing like more Arcana here. There's also obviously like the 6 portal version. Most people don't want to play towards that until they get a portal spat, and then they can actually play 7 portal. But yeah, this is kind of like a different version of Ryze. This is, I think people are calling it more like Preserver Ryze, where you play around 4 Scholar, you fit in extra units as preservers. Obviously, the Bard fits in, and then like, I don't know, is he going to throw Rakan onto this board, and then you can get more preservers in later. He's actually throwing Galio onto that board there, which doesn't really make sense to me, but maybe he just wants to cover his different like angles of stuff that he can hold. But this is the board that he's thinking of playing towards, which is crazy to me. Red buff Guinsoo here with all these AD items as well, and I don't even really see where they go in this comp, but I don't know. I'm excited to see how this board actually comes together for Phoenix, because I mean, there is no way that you would ever see me angling towards that comp from this spot, like from with Guinsoo red buff slammed with a Fiora natural. I would think you would play around some kind of like Callista Fiora setup, and you know, be happy with that, or maybe even just vertical, you know, just Callista and then the AD frontline items end up going on to like Hecarim. I've seen some people talk about, but yeah, he's gonna sell out of this other stuff. The question for Phoenix is, does he want to 4-1 it or 4-2 it? He's gonna opt to 4-1 it, which I think is an interesting decision because he is not that low. He could opt to 4-2 it and you get much bigger upgrades, but he's gonna opt to 4-1 it. I'm down to bring this speed down to 1x here to watch his roll down here. We see a Rakan. There's a Taric that we could play towards. There's the Zoe as well that we might need. We do not yet have our carry here, actually. I mean, we have the Karma, I guess, for now. There is the Bard too. There's a Callista, but yeah, he doesn't even want the Callista. He sees the Thomas Kench as well. He picks up the Briar. He does need to start slamming items kind of soon. My main question is just, where's the Guinsoo going to go in this comp? Because yeah, he's playing pretty hard for kind of, I mean, in this situation, it's Karma. He wants to pick up that Guinsoo's Rage Blade, but he's got to get some item slams down. He's going to opt to make Shojin here for the mana item. Guinsoo is just going to go onto Karma here, and then he's just going to make... He ended up getting a TG, which is actually fantastic here, and then a Declaw for a frontline item. So the items actually end up working themselves out. He doesn't actually really need any kind of like AD frontliner type items. And yeah, he gets to just play the Karma here. He does end up making a mana item. So yeah, red buff Guinsoo Karma is kind of interesting, but it's not that bad, actually. Last augment here, Little Buddies, I think is actually very reasonable, especially with that idea of playing towards the Ryze board, but we'll see. There's another Taric. There's Nami's that you can play towards as well. There's another Tom Kench. He's going to get in the Zillion, which is really good, and boom, the second we find a Ryze, we pivot into this board, move these items over to Ryze. We got a support item as our cash out and a Fawn, which is pretty good. Moonstone there. Yeah, actually a really, I mean, nice that he played that board to cash out that last round. He ended up fighting someone kind of weak, but yeah. This is the board: 4 Scholar, 3 Arcana. It's 4 Scholar Ryze. It's kind of crazy that this is the Ryze setup in my opinion, because I don't know. I'm interested to see how much damage this Ryze does, because it's 4 Scholar Ryze, Shojin, red buff Guinsoo. It's kind of like it's 0 damage item Ryze with 4 Scholar, which is shocking to me that this would be the setup. But maybe Phoenix has the tech, and that, you know, like, this is the Ryze setup. We could certainly do a stats check here. We do pick up Amelia, who is a fantastic addition to the board. But yeah, I'm actually down to do a stats check here on 4 Scholar Ryze, because this is something that I think I don't know. This is something that's not really played for that much. So let's do 2 star level 2 item count 3. Yeah, I mean, the statistics, they do really like red buff. You can see we can sort by delta and then do craftable to see some more stuff. So yeah, red buff looks really good. And then yeah, stuff like Archangels and Rabadons is really quite good. We have that Guinsoo's, which statistically isn't amazing, but it's not terrible either. And then what's the last item again? Oh, Shojin as well, which I imagine the stats. Yeah, the stats hate Shojin. So I'm actually shocked that this is our setup. I mean, maybe the idea is that later down the line we can move Shojin off of Ryze with this remover, put it onto someone like Emilio, and then we can, you know, do other stuff. We can get to like a damage item for Ryze. I have to imagine that's the hope eventually, but you can see the power of this board. This 4 Scholar Ryze doing insane work, Taric tanking a lot, the Emilio actually, you know, spawning us all these items, and then he does have kind of like a random +1 on this board, kind of +2 right now because he's playing the Galio as well, which kind of fits in for Vanguard, but it's kind of weird, this board. We do pick up Ryze 2 here with Tier here, which is great. The Tier could be something like an Archangels. You could just slam Adaptive on frontline if you really want to, but I don't know. I like that idea potentially, but we'll see if he wants to actually end up making Adaptive. Get random TG for a round, which yeah, I think is fine. You can check it first. Yeah, okay. We did see a tank item there in the Sunfire, so I think this is fine. But yeah, it's kind of funny that this is the board for Portal. It's just because you're fitting Ryze plus Zoe plus Taric, and then like you can kind of throw Galio on there. It's funny because like, I don't know exactly what these other slots are supposed to be. Like, it seems weird to me that we're playing a Galio, and like obviously this random like Briar on our board is just good because Briar is a good unit. But it's funny to me that like this is the board that he opts to play for. I think what a lot of people are talking about was that like more preserver version where you can play stuff like Rakan, you can play stuff until you find Melio, you can play stuff like You can play stuff like Bard, though. Right now, yeah, it doesn't certainly look like we're trying to play around Preserver. It's really like 4 Scholar plus Arcana. But it's cool. Like the previous Arcana version that I think a lot of people talked about was the version where you opted to play for like Nami. You played 3 Mage with Nami. And this, version is not playing around that at all. It's just playing around 4 Scholar here to get a ton of mana. And I mean, the Ryze, even with this setup, is actually doing a lot of work. We do end up moving items over. Yeah, the red buff and the Gwynso I think are going to stay, and then Shojin could potentially move over. His hope, I think, is that he could get to like an Archangel for this Ryze. I don't know what else the tier could really be, but I mean, like, yeah, no Hodge or anything like that, ideally. So yeah, the hope is, I would imagine, Archangel. He does get the Archangel as a drop here if he wants it, so we'll see if he ends up making it. Yeah, he's thinking about even slamming it. I mean, I think that shows everything there. Looks like, I don't know, maybe Redemption as his, oh, maybe? I mean, I imagine it's, or Warmogs, I guess. He's going to go for the Redemption. Okay, I like it. And Tactician's Crown there seems solid. Yeah, okay, so it was Archangels. It was interesting, yeah, he looked at slamming Archangels before even popping Anvil, which is like always suboptimal, but it just goes to show how much he feels he needs a damage item on this Ryze, an AP item on this Ryze. But yeah, look how stable the board is. Just Ryze 2, Taric 2, and he's just stomping everybody here. He really wants to push level here. This is a big choice. Okay, he does opt to Radiantize here and gets a Radiant Redemption here. Not bad. I think you kind of have to when you're 25 HP. I think if you had scouted and seen that the matchups were kind of weak, which honestly, like a lot of these boards don't look insanely strong, you could have made the call to not pick up Radiantize there and tried to push for 9, but it's, I don't know, it's really, really tough, especially because we're on the streak, we want to protect it. But I mean, look at this fight. I think you could certainly make the argument that we would have won this fight without Radiantize here, and so we actually like made a mistake here. Ooh, that's the roll once, and pick up a Melio too, which is obviously not bad at all. This Phoenix guy, I mean, look, I will say, when someone goes 1-1 in tournament, they obviously played well to some degree, but they also high rolled to some degree. And I mean, I love how he navigated this game, but obviously hitting Emilio 2 on 8 is, that's where the high roll comes in a little bit. Such things, they happen in TFT, that's life. But I like this line a lot, and you can see the power of this board, man. He's just cruising through everybody here, especially with that extra value that he got from the Fortune Favors the Bold, that Fawn, allowing him to fit an extra unit. I guess the idea is if you are playing a normal game, you don't have that Fawn, so then you don't play this random Briar. And it's just funny to me that you would play the extra unit in the Galio just for 4 portal. But I guess the question is like, what else would you play if not that? And there's not a really good answer. We pick up Shiv off Carousel to give us that MR shred that we don't have on this board. Really, really nice. Can't put it onto the Ryze, but you can just throw it onto Melio and it seems solid. He's actually going to level here for just a Poppy, which seems kind of terrible, but I think he's just afraid of losing fights, wants to be strong as possible. Obviously, it's another Witchcraft. I mean, now you could think about maybe 4 Bastion as being your idea. You just drop out of Vanguard and get 4 Bastion in, which I imagine would be the idea. And maybe in Phoenix's opinion, that's the cap. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I want to look at his shops and see if he ever rolls over like a Bastion at all. There's also the Bard back if you wanted to play something around that. I don't think we saw Bastion there. We get temporary Orn item, which is solid. Gonna pick up a random Camille here, but yeah, he's just still playing this Poppy here. Witchcraft tends to be pretty mediocre late game. Doesn't really do that much. A little bit of extra flat HP gone is just not what it is in the early game. In the early game, it's quite solid, but yeah, this late vertical Witchcraft, or just 2 Witchcraft doesn't really do anything, but it's something, right? It's a trait. You'd probably prefer any Shapeshifter now that I think about it, but I don't know if we got offered that. So I don't know. We'll see if he sees a single Shapeshifter. But I think, what is that Katarina in Planner? It's this guy. Yeah, he's trying to deny this guy's Katarina 3. Very, very smart from Phoenix to do this scout. There are only 2 off of Katarina 3 as well. So every Katarina that you hold is going to matter here. They're 3 off, but they have the duplicator, of course. An extra item here. I don't even know where this is going to go, but we'll see. 3 TGs tends to be a good charm, but he actually doesn't really have space on all these units. So yeah, this is going to be the setup. He continues that roll down there. I don't think we saw a Shapeshifter at all, but yeah, I don't know what you even... I don't know. I guess you just Adaptive Helm Taric. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible. It's just funny, like, okay. I could see the idea behind this. You just Adaptive Helm the Tom Kench, and then you have Melio farm these items. Because that's what I was going to say, is if you Adaptive Helm Taric, then you don't really... Your Melio is not really doing much. So this is actually really, really smart. Yeah, just Adaptive Helm the Tom Kench. This Melio with Shojin plus Static Shiv is going to cast really, really fast. So you can actually afford to greed those items. I actually love that play. Yeah, Salvager... It's a great augment. My brain is not big enough to take this here, but I don't know, his items are pretty good, so you probably don't take it regardless. And he did opt to eventually get out of that other the idea is that he's just going to play for 4 Arcana as the cap. He gets out of that Poppy the second that he finds the Xerath here and just play for 4 Arcana. Also, he Arcana'd the Xerath, right? The idea just being that there's so much ability damage in this comp. Even though Xerath nerfed, it's going to be better than something like HP. Even though I think early game you could go HP maybe. It's only 5 traits though, so it's not amazing. But yeah, this is his idea of the main cap. I'm interested, you know, if he would always ideally just play a synergyless Briar on this board, or if there's something else that he would like to play. I mean, obviously there's like a random Morgana that you could throw in that would get you that Witchcraft and also just be a solid unit. So maybe that's kind of like the default. Like I said as well, 4 Bastion could be an idea. I guess the generic idea is that like you usually don't have that +1 slot because we have a Tactician's Crown this game. TG here for, oh, we didn't get that TG there. So we're just going to take this Nashers here for, I mean, are we really Nashersing the Xerath here? We do pick up a Nora here. I wonder if it finds its way onto the board here. If he thinks Nora's actually better than something on the board. It looks like the answer is no here. Oh, wait, this is, yeah, obviously this is it. You just put the Nashers onto Milio here. He has that remover, so yeah, he can just put the Moonstone over onto the RA. Very smart from Phoenix. Just, I think this is something that I need to work on, is just like seeing all the different possibilities for items and like where you can move them, especially nowadays where every game we're getting a remover. I'm still not used to having a remover all the time in TFT. There's the Morgana, but obviously at this point she's not coming onto the board. So yeah, this is going to be our setup here. It's funny. I really feel like Vanguard is not that high value on this board. I wonder if there's something better than the Galio, but he doesn't think it's Morgana. I mean, at this point where Thomas Kench 2-star, maybe he actually has faith in like this Vanguard shielding onto the TK. I could see it. I mean, the TK looks very tanky, and in general, our front line looks insanely tanky. A 15 streak from Phoenix, 10 loss into 15 streak, and it's an easy first from him with a really interesting, this 4 Scholar version, I think really is not that popular right now, and not that many people are playing towards it, especially this idea of, you know, like not playing for Nami, even just playing 4 Scholar and Vertical Arcana. I would say he also played this comp the next game, I believe, so he was really interested in playing this comp. So go try it out in your games and let me know how it goes. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitch and all my links down below. Thank you guys again for watching. Your support it's pretty cool. Okay, I mean, the video's over. Dude, it was crazy to me. I looked at like the number of like watch time hours I had last month. It was in like the millions, I think. You guys watched like millions of hours of my videos last month. That's insane. Okay, I won't, you know, obviously I'm just like talking right now. But like that's a crazy amount of views, like or of like watch time. Like I can't comprehend that amount of watch time. So just, you know, shout outs to you guys. Thank you guys for always watching my stuff. I hope that I, you know, bring you guys some joy and that you like watching the videos and that it brightens your day. I know a lot of people talk about how they watch my videos when they're, you know, like eating lunch, or some people say they watch my videos when they're like driving to work or something like that. Obviously keep your eyes on the road, but you know, I taught my voice is such a nice tenor to it that you can just listen to it, right? Okay, I'm gonna catch you guys later. Bye bye.